Hey guys, good morning. It's Saturday, I think it's the 4th. I just wanted to touch base with you and recap yesterday and kind of give you an update of what my game plan is today and the days coming up here. So if there's anybody that knows someone or wants to just kind of put the word out to say hi to me as I'm coming through town, that'd be great. I had a lot of interaction yesterday, a lot of engagement with folks along the road, and that hasn't been happening, so that was really neat, and I appreciated that. At least two or three occasions between Tasha and Dustin and Andy came by and said hi, as well as the folks I got to meet, Ty and Emily, Keith, and a few others during the daytime, during the stops. Anyway, today I'm going to treat like something of a rest or vacation day. Plymouth is about 13 to 15 miles to the west, probably closer to 13, I think. So I'm not going to have to do the full 20. I think there's some kind of band concert in town, and it's really probably the next biggest town I'll meet, hit in Valparaiso. So I'm going to kind of look forward to going there. Dustin's from that way, and I think he's already put out on social media. And I'm going to talk about the power of social media as well on here, because it really truly led to yesterday and me finding a place yesterday. So the next week looks like Plymouth today. After that, it's going to be a small town. I'm not sure if it's going to be Hannah or a town called Hamlet. There's a few little towns in there. I got to try to find something between that. That would be Sunday. Valparaiso on Monday. That's going to be a little bit of a haul because that's about 45 miles from Plymouth. So I'll have to double dip, go a little more than 20 some of those days. From Valpo, I think I'll be taking the ride. I'd be Sunday, Monday. Tuesday would be a town called Merrillville. Wednesday, I think I'm going to head up to Hammond. And then Thursday, as I projected, I'd be coming into Chicago for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's some cool possibilities about Chicago I'll share with you. But let me talk a little bit about yesterday and where we started. So one of the first things I did was need to apologize to somebody. I'm not quite sure. Well, I know I need to apologize, but I didn't mean to put him in a bond. I didn't do anything maliciously wrong. But yesterday morning, after I left Kristen's house, her dad Doug and mom Roseanne, I headed up and I told me about this really cool place to stop by. It's a crate and egg company. It's like a Cracker Barrel. I showed a lot of pictures. Really neat place. While I was there, a couple of neat things happened. First of all, that young lady I shared a picture with, she sent me a note, paid for my breakfast, and sent me this note that people are good. And that was really special. And then she did it in an anonymous way, and she left, so I couldn't even get a chance to thank her or give her, the thanks, or the recognition for doing so, which shows you why she did it, that she didn't really want the recognition, and that was special. But I met a gentleman who was just a terrific guy, just easy to talk to, a lot of fun. I met a few guys like this along the way, that guys that I met him on a different time and years ago, I'd probably still be, dear friends today. But anyway, I posted, when I talk to people, they don't tell me what to say. I don't interview them. I just have conversations with them. And so far this hasn't happened. I guess I've picked up everything that I wanted to share, but in this case I didn't. I put a bit of information out there that wasn't true, and somehow it caused him a little bit of grief, maybe a lot of bit of grief, I don't know. But he shot me a text and hey, can you go edit that post? That part's not quite true and caused me some problems. So certainly apologize to you, Keith. Didn't mean to put you in that position, and that was a lesson for me. I'll try to learn how important it is to be 100% accurate on here. I didn't try to be inaccurate. I thought I was, but so then I moved on up the way here, and I met a few more great folks. Stopped at a Minute Martin as I came out walking down the road. Tasha and her two children came by and gave me a care package, and she was just so nice. And again, she had heard about me on social media, talking about the power of social media. When I left, I knew nothing about social media. I even told the publisher I didn't want to do it. I thought it was hypocritical. She said, no, you have to do it, trust me. And I'm glad that Toby and Adam have helped me, and I've embraced it a little bit here. It's made my life fantastic. And really, it's kept me busy, because if I was walking and just writing this stuff down and taking these pictures that you'll never see until the book comes out, it wouldn't be much fun for me either. So then further up the road, I met Andy, and he pulled over and talked to me, and father of three, and a nice man, prayed for me, and but just a terrific young guy. Had a smile when he said his two older kids are kind of grown and out of the house now. He gets to enjoy a little bit of Andy time. I moved up to a town called Etna Green, and I stopped in there. And that was a really neat thing because it was a family of 5, and I was writing shortly here. I apologize, I have really bad hair today, cutting up bedhead. I'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, I started to write my chapter of my book from the day before. I do it on my phone. So I was sitting in the corner with my phone charging, just as it's charging now. And I was writing a book. And in a small little place like that, not eavesdropping, but you can't help but overhear some things. And just a neat family. And I guess they were wrapping up, and they said something that just made me smile. And I had to share it with them and kind of introduce myself and tell them what I was doing. And it was neat because sometimes you get people that don't want to be bothered, and not that they're rude, they're polite. They just don't want to be bothered, and I get that. And I kind of thought that this might be the way this group was. The 2 younger folks, by younger to me, Emily and Ty, probably late 20s, I would guess. Were there with maybe grandma, grandpa, mom, I'm not sure who. But they just seemed to be really, having a great time, just having deep conversation with themselves. And when I told them, it was just, strangest thing. The reception I got, I mean, maybe it wasn't that strange, but what was really neat about it was we didn't talk about me and why, well, not necessarily why, but me and walking. It wasn't about me and walking, and it's kind of crazy. We talked about pointing the thumb and the mantra and applying it, and Emily in particular was like, yeah, I mean, that makes so much sense, and everybody was just really gracious. So from there, I moved on, and I got into the town of Bourbon, which is kind of a really neat town. And one of the good things about coming to Bourbon was I was meeting a younger than me, a reporter named Jamie. She's from up in Plymouth with the Plymouth newspaper, which covers out this way. And she had caught wind of me through one of you folks out there that let her know I was coming. And she wanted to meet with me and talk with me. And it was really neat because unlike my previous newspaper reporter, it wasn't a traditional interview as I would say it. I don't really know what a traditional interview is. I've only had a few, but it wasn't a lot of questions. It was more just a conversation, and honestly, in the conversation, probably the same and more came out than I would have had I just been asked the questions. And one of the things that she did ask me is there what do you want to what do you want to get across in this? And it was good to be able to tell her, look, I really want to focus on this point in the thumb. I'm convinced now I can tell my kids there are great people out there. I'll share more stories as I go, but I really think as we talk about pointing the thumb, that's how it's going to catch on. So, well, you folks, I'll ask you guys, when you communicate, it was not hard for me, but it was really easy to talk about, hey, check out this guy's walking across the country. But if you can kind of add in that, check out this guy's walking across the country, but, he's got a great message too that I'm really, really buying into. And hear the message and ask folks to hear the message. I think that's the next step up we have to do with this here together. So we got in town, and Jamie got me a soda at Subway. The manager saw and heard what I was doing, and she was kind enough, so the Subway in Bourbon, kind enough to show me some graciousness. I wasn't ready at the time. She said, later on today, when you're ready, come back and let me get you a sandwich. So we had the interview, and then I had to get to, I can't do a lot of things off of my phone. The views on a phone are just much different than a laptop or even a tablet, and there's a lot I can't do. And I've been lax in getting to a library or a computer to get the t-shirts out that I had to. So to the folks that ordered t-shirts from about a week and a half ago, they are out or on the way going out today. Miss Pat, my friend and neighbor and just someone I love, sends them out from Manchester, PA. She usually sends them today. So when they go out, they'll go out today. So Jamie was really concerned, and again, what was kind of really neat about Jamie is, well, I guess she was there to do a job. She was there as a person, and she was really concerned about me having a place for the night, and I knew I'd be okay. People really are good, and it was early enough. Sometimes getting in the town late and it's tough, but it was early enough that I thought I'd be okay. But I told her I'd call her if I had nowhere to go, and I'd call her either way, tell her if I did have somewhere to go. So she got me up to the library. She said goodbye. It was a pleasure meeting you. And I sat at the library and took care of some business stuff for quite a while. The folks up there were very accommodating. And then I started to walk back down to town. And that's when I happened upon, ironically, I'm calling my trip the Point the Thumb Journey, because it really is some kind of journey for me. And I hope you guys are taking it with me. It's not just a trip. I don't really know what's going to happen as I go. But here I look up and there's a marquee called The Journey's End. And I thought, how appropriate is that? So I said, well, let me stop in here. And this is where the story takes on kind of a cool meaning. And yesterday I was excited to share this with you. So I walk into the Journey, and there's, I think, one patron at the bar. It's a bar shaped like a U. And Becky, so I'll be right with you. She comes out very nice. And before I could set my backpack down, this gentleman comes in behind me off the street. And he says, man, I saw you on Facebook. I saw what you're doing. I think it's just awesome. He said, can you do me a favor? Can you step outside for a minute? And, not like step outside like he's angry or mad, or, like in the old movie, step outside. But so I step outside, and he's got a pickup truck with about, I kid you not, I would guess 10 bicycles in the back, which was puzzling because he only had 4 kids in the truck. But he had one little guy in the front seat, and he had 3 in the back. And he said, guys, this guy's walking across America. Is that crazy? And the little fellow in the front seat was like, really? You really are? I said, yeah. And he just wanted to introduce me to him. He said, guys, do you think people are good? And the little guy in the front in particular said, yeah. And I said, well, guys, I really appreciate you. I have found a lot of great people. And I said, I'd love to take a picture with you guys if I can. So they got out, they accommodated me. We took a picture together, and off they went. So I went back into the Journey's End. I was hanging out for a little while when I got a call or a message that said, hey Jim, we received your package because I am in need of new sneakers, and they were in. And the game plan we had was the folks that donated them back in York, PA. I had somebody I know pick them up because they had a couple of little things to send me, including business cards. And then she mailed them to a family that I met outside of Fort Wayne in a town called New Haven. And that's Debbie and Gibbs, and they were with their grandkids. And these folks, I won't say dropped everything, but more or less dropped everything to run an hour and a half to central Indiana to get me my package, which I'm so grateful for. And then it was great to see them again. I mean, really, again, I met so many friends for life, honestly. Like I said, I can't wait to bring my kids around, kind of do a road trip with us so they can meet these people that I really, truly do consider friends. So after I get that email, it gets even crazier now. So all of a sudden I get an email from, a contact from Chris. And he says, do you have a place to stay tonight? And I said, well, not yet. And Chris has a company called Bourbon Investment Group. And I didn't know that at the time. But now, as I try to think of things, Bourbon Investment Group, BIG, I think they came up, maybe he'll become notorious to me, right? The notorious BIG. But he said, well, look, I got a place. It's vacant. It's a little messy. We're kind of rehabbing it and renovating it, but it's a place. And I said, you know what, man, that sounds just perfect. And I was able to come down. He hooked me up, and I had a place to stay. And it's not a bad place whatsoever. We'll tell you this: it is a hardwood floor. But in my situation, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I love it, right? And I love it. And here's why I love it, because I was thinking about this last night, and I slept probably 6-7 hours, which I never do. So here I slept on a completely hardwood floor with about that layer of a sleeping bag, and that tells you how comfortable and good it was. But the funny thing I thought about that's a little humorous is, people will sit there and say, oh my God, he had to sleep on a hardwood floor, that's awful. And no, it's not. It's really, really pretty cool. I just think moments like this are cool. Who else could talk about stuff like this? And then that's where my son's going to get punished. My daughters are going to get punished because, I'm going to be some old coot, and these kids are going to complain about something, and I'm going to be that guy that says, did I ever tell you about the time in Bourbon, Indiana when I slept for 8 hours on a hardwood floor? And they'll be like, yes, Grandpa, many times. But I'll have that in my back pocket. I'm running out of time here, but I want to keep going, so I'm going to come back in just a second.